Friday, the 23rd of January 2026. In this skid mark, I'm going to talk about something very disturbing that I picked up on X, and it was posted by the Vigilant Fox, and it is about what's happening to our children and their cognitive abilities. This teacher turned cognitive scientist shared a disturbing reality that left the room stunned. Our kids are less cognitively capable than we were at their age. Every previous generation outperformed its parents since we began recording in the late 1800s. So what happened? Screens. Dr. Jared Howard explained, Gen Z is the first generation in modern history to underperform us on basically every cognitive measure we have, from basic attention to memory, to literacy, to numeracy, to executive functioning, to even general IQ, even though they go to more school than we did. So why? The answer appears to be the tools we are using within schools to drive that learning. Screens. If you look at the data, once countries adopt digital technology widely in schools, performance goes down significantly, to the point where kids who use computers about 5 hours per day in school for learning purposes will score over 2/3 of a standard deviation less than the kids who rarely or never touch tech at schools, and that's across 80 countries. But screens aren't just decimating learning and making new generations less intelligent than the ones before them. They're doing something far worse, and when you take a closer look, it isn't pretty. This isn't a glitch. Engagement-driven algorithms don't understand meaning, context, or childhood development. They only understand clicks and watch time driven by dopamine spikes. So when AI is tasked with churning out videos at scale, it doesn't filter for innocence. It optimizes for stimulation. Cartoon imagery, masking adult themes, fear cues, violence, and psychological distress is being served to toddlers. Bright colors on the surface, something very, very wrong underneath. This content has zero educational or developmental value. No story, no moral arc, no learning, just rapid-fire novelty engineering to hold attention at all costs, even if that cost is literally the viewer's brain and the nervous system development. Dopamine-optimized media and AI-generated slop are conditioning our children for addiction, emotional dysregulation, and long-term neurological harm. We have to stop this before it starts and before Big Pharma steps in with the solution. Something unprecedented and highly concerning is happening to children's brains. Toddlers aren't just watching screens, they're being neurologically conditioned by them. Rapid cuts, flashing colors, constant novelty. And none of it is by accident, it's all by design. What looks like kids' content is often dopamine engineering aimed at maximizing engagement, not healthy development, no matter the damage it does. Parents see the patterns. Their young children are calm while watching shows, but when the screen turns off, they melt down. They're not just upset, it's over. It's much bigger than that. Rage, desperation, and tantrums that feel disproportionate. In 2025 survey, found 22% of parents report full-on tantrums from excessive screen time, along with irritability and mood swings. Many parents say it's worse than sugar crashes and harder to manage than hunger or fatigue. That's not coincidence, that's withdrawal. Unfortunately, 25% of parents use screens to calm children when upset, and 17% report children self-soothing with mobile devices. Fast-paced children programming trains the brain to expect constant stimulation. When attention is conditional to jump every few seconds, slower, real-world experiences, reading, conversation, imagination, boredom, become intolerable. The developing nervous system adapts by chasing novelty instead of building focus. Unfortunately, this rewiring doesn't fade on its own. Classic children's shows were fundamentally different. They were slower, predictable, repetitive, on purpose. They left space for emotional processing and imagination. Modern programming does the opposite. Relentless stimulation with no pauses, optimized through analytics to keep the kids locked in. The brain learns whatever it practices most, especially in young children. And the research backs it up. Early exposure to fast-paced media is linked to later attention problems, impaired executive function, emotional dysregulation, and increased anger. And each additional hour compounds the effect. The younger the brain, the deeper the imprint. This isn't just about screen time, it's about screen design. So why are addictive and harmful YouTube shows like CoComelon allowed to exist? This isn't about bad parenting or weak discipline. The mechanics of how dopamine hijacks attention, especially in children, are deeply unsettling. Midwestern Doc's full article connects the dots most people never see. Now this is quite disturbing, and if you look around you, you will find that more and more younger and younger children are walking around with a device, be it a tablet or be it a cell phone. I've seen small children, they can barely talk coherently, but they're already on the phones. This is something that we need to take cognizance of, because what we are doing is we are allowing my famous triple X to program our children, and to program our children to be good slaves to the system. This is what they are doing. And it is shocking when a man says that the children of today has got so much less cognitive ability than the parents had. And that is really disturbing, because the general idea is that you as a parent transfer as much of your experiences and knowledge to your children so that they are actually turning out cleverer than you. And that has been the situation for how many generations? And all of a sudden, we see a reverse now. Children are getting dumber. And we, the parents, we are playing our role in making them dumber. Think about this and let me know in the comments what your ideas are. But I must say, we must take serious notice of the effect of screens on our children's development. Many parents are relying on screens to calm distressed children. It works short term because dopamine overrides discomfort. But long term, it teaches the nervous system that the relief comes from external stimulation, not self-regulation. The child becomes dependent on artificial soothing, That's bad, really, really bad. And that dependency follows them into adolescence, where it can affect everything from school and work to relationships. This pattern directly mirrors addiction. Remove the stimulus and the stress surges. Reintroduce it and calm return. Over time, baseline satisfaction drops and stronger stimulation is needed to achieve the same effect. Children aren't choosing this. Their brains are being trained into it. They are being set up for a life of challenges just because someone wants to profit from the attention of a toddler. Platforms profit from attention, regardless of the age of the viewer. Algorithms reward whatever keeps eyes glued longest. Developmental health isn't the metric, engagement is. And children are uniquely vulnerable because their brains are still wiring reward pathways. Profit and protection are not aligned. But this isn't just an issue during childhood. A nervous system conditioned to constant dopamine spikes struggles with delayed gratification, deep focus, emotional resilience, and stable joy. It seeks intensity instead of meaning, stimulation instead of presence. The groundwork for lifelong dissatisfaction is being laid earlier than ever before. This isn't just about screens, it's about how dopamine-driven world that is quietly shaping what joy, attention, and connection even feel like, and is starting in early childhood. We have to do something before it is too late. Children are paying the highest price, but that doesn't mean adults are immune to this. When the nervous system is constantly overstimulated, subtler pleasures disappear completely. Quiet becomes uncomfortable. Stillness feels empty. Real relationships feel dull compared to the engineered highs. That gap drives further consumption and more disconnection from the real world. A healthy nervous system resists addiction. When regulation, safety, and connection are intact, artificial stimulation loses its grip. Dopamine spikes become unnecessary instead of irresistible. Unfortunately, a lot of people are walking around with nervous systems that are seriously out of whack, and chronic overstimulation further erodes that internal stability. Young children need protection while that system is forming. That is why limits alone don't work. You can restrict screens, but if the nervous system is already dysregulated, the craving remains. Real change requires rebuilding regulation through sleep, movement connection, reduced sensory overload, and good old-fashioned play. Replacement matters more than restriction. The tragedy is that much of this harm is invisible at first. Kids seem advanced, engaged, quiet. The cost shows up later as attention problems, emotional volatility, anxiety, or dependence on constant stimulation to feel okay. By then, the habits are entrenched. Parents don't set out hoping to damage their children's nervous systems. They trust that these products made for children are not harmful to their target audience. Once they realize that they've been sucked into a trap, it can be hard to escape it. But there is a way out of this trap. It doesn't require rejecting technology. It just requires understanding how nervous systems actually heal. The full article from Midwestern Doc maps a path forward. There's a lot of things here that we have to think about and that we have to take into consideration, and we need to take note of these things because we are going to lose a whole generation. This isn't about blaming parents. Families are navigating a constantly changing environment engineered against them. The responsibility belongs with systems that monetize neurological vulnerability, especially in children who can't consent or defend themselves. Awareness is the first form of protection. Children don't need constant stimulation to thrive. They need safety, rhythm, boredom, presence. They need time for their nervous systems to settle and integrate. These things build resilience, focus, and real joy, the kind that doesn't crash. Depth beats intensity. What's at stake isn't just attention spans. It's whether the next generation grows up capable of sustained thought, emotional regulation, and meaningful connection, or locked into chasing hollow highs that never satisfy. That outcome is being shaped now, and if most kids stay on this path, the outcome could be disastrous. Thankfully, nervous systems are adaptable. When overstimulation is reduced and regulation is restored, attention improves, emotional volatility softens, joy returns in quieter, more stable forms. Healing isn't instant, but it is real. Protecting our children doesn't mean isolating them from the modern world. It means understanding how that world works and choosing environments that support development rather than exploit it. That choice matters more than most people realize. A society that trades children's nervous systems for engagement metrics is borrowing against its future. Reversing that trajectory starts with clarity, restraint, and a willingness to value long-term health over short-term convenience. That work begins at home. Well, I hope that you enjoy these things and that it brings value to your life. But you have to take note of what was discussed here, because it is your children that is at stake and their future. And we have to take care of the children, otherwise the tribe does not have a future. Please give me a like and a subscribe and share the thing. Thank you for your support.